based on these conversations, the American people can make a good judgment. I mean, one of the things that if you're a person of faith like me, I believe that things will work out, and we will get the president that we need. What you want, though, is just to make sure that people have good information, that they're not just consuming negative ads or the kind of nasty tit-for-tat that has become so common in politics. You know, I want people to know me well, and I want people, I'm sure John McCain feels the same way, and that if we are both known and people know where we stand on issues, yeah, I trust in the American people. They're going to make a good decision, and we're going to be able to solve the big problems that we face.
Okay, I've got 30 seconds. What would you tell the American public if you knew there wouldn't be any repercussions?
Well, you know what I would tell them is that solving big problems, like, for example, energy, is not going to be easy. And everybody is going to have to get involved. And we are going to have to all think about how are we using energy more efficiently. And there's going to be a price to pay in transitioning to a more energy efficient economy and dealing with issues like climate change. And if we pretend like everything is free and there's no sacrifice involved, then we are betraying the tradition of America. I think about my grandparents' generation coming out of a depression, fighting World War II. You know, they've confronted some challenges we can't even imagine. If they were willing to make sacrifices on our behalf, we should be able to make some sacrifices on behalf of the next generation.
Senator, thank you.
Thank you. Now, okay. Would you stand? Would you stand and thank Senator Barack Obama? Let's start here. How about here?
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And while you're still standing, would you welcome at the same time Senator John McCain? Would you welcome him as he comes out here?
John, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay. Go get him.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Saddleback Civil Forum on the presidency, and welcome Senator John McCain.
Thank you,
Rick.
Rick.
For being here.
Thank you.
We're really glad to be here. Thank you for coming. Now, my first question was the cone of silence comfortable that you were in just now?
I was trying to hear through the wall.
Okay, this first set of questions deals with leadership and the personal life of leadership. First question is, who are the three wisest people that you know that you would rely on heavily in an administration?
First one, I think, would be General David Petraeus, one of the great military leaders in American history who took us from defeat to victory in Iraq. One of the great leaders, and I'm so proud to know him. 4th of July a year ago, Senator Lindsey Graham and I were in Baghdad. 688 brave young Americans whose enlistment had expired swore an oath of re-enlistment to stay and fight for freedom. Only someone like General David Petraeus could motivate someone like that. I think John Lewis. John Lewis was at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, had his skull fractured, continued to serve, continues to have the most optimistic outlook about America. He can teach us all a lot about the meaning of courage and commitment to causes greater than our self-interest. Meg Whitman. Meg Whitman, the CEO of eBay. Meg Whitman, 12 years ago, there were 5 employees. Today, there are 1.5 million people that make a living off eBay in America and the world. It's one of these great American success stories. And in these economic challenging times, we need to call on the wisdom and knowledge, background of people like Meg Whitman, who have been able to make such a great American success story part of the world's folklore.
Okay. Let me ask you this. This is a character question.
I hope they get easier.
This one isn't any easier. We've had a lot of leaders, because of their weaknesses, character flaws, stumbled, become ineffective, are not even serving anymore, serving our country. What's been your greatest moral failure, and what has been what do you think is the greatest moral failure of America?
They don't get any easier.
No, they don't get any easier.
My greatest moral failing, and I have been a very imperfect person, is the failure of my first marriage. It's my greatest moral failure. I think America's greatest moral failure has been, throughout our existence, perhaps we have not devoted ourselves to causes greater than our self-interest, although we've been the best at it of anybody in the world. I think after 9/11, my friends, instead of telling people to go shopping or take a trip, we should have told Americans to join the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, the military, expand our volunteer, expand what you're doing.
Okay.
Expand the great missions that you are doing, that you're carrying out not only here in America, but throughout the world, especially in Rwanda. And I hope we have a chance to talk a little bit about that later on. And you know, I'm a little pandering here. The first words of your very successful book is, "This is not about you." Yeah. And you know what that really also means? Serve a cause greater than your self-interest. Yeah.
John, you know that a lot of good legislation dies because of partisan politics. And party loyalty keeps people from really getting forward on putting America's best first. Can you give me an example of where you led against your party's interest? Oh, this is hard. And really it may be against your own best interest for the good of America.
You know, by a strange coincidence, I was not elected Miss Congeniality again in the United States Senate this year. I don't know why. I don't know why. Climate change, out of control spending, torture, the list goes on a large number of issues that I've put my country first and I've reached across the aisle. But I'd probably have to say that one of the times that probably was one of the most trying was when I was first a member of Congress and I'm a new freshman in the House of Representatives and very loyal and dedicated to President Reagan, who I still think is one of the great, great presidents in American history, who won the Cold War without firing a shot, in the words of Margaret Thatcher. He wanted to send troops to Beirut for a peacekeeping mission. My knowledge and my background told me that a few hundred Marines in a situation like that could not successfully carry out any kind of peacekeeping mission, and I thought they were going into harm's way. Tragically, as many of you recall, there was a bombing of the Marine barracks, and well over 100 brave Marines gave their lives. But it was tough, that vote, because I went against the president I believed in the party that believed that maybe I was disloyal very early in my political career.